Good afternoon, and welcome back to this shared space I call YouTube. I say that because I just don't like calling it my channel anymore. Anyways, so I wasn't going to release this fourth Goetia till Sunday, but they are showing me to go today. And we're piggybacking with the third Goetia and Notoria into the fourth Goetia and Notoria, Gamigin and Elamia. So it's telling me like Fasago, visions and insight, and Sitayel, higher consciousness, stabilizing your mind, are going to begin with you on this first part of the Goetia journey, because this one might be rough on you. I want you to understand some things. Yes, working through the unconscious isn't easy. Your exterior world sometimes is the reflection of your need to do so, right? Because when you process your emotions and your mind to think better and clearer, usually things are not so rough, rocky, and disruptive in your reality. I know it sounds like a lot of spiritual fluff, but it's not. This has been the awareness of consciousness or spirit for thousands of years. Even before, even in the BCs, 7,000 years into the BCs. So, these are all understandings. Clear your mind, reality fucking changes, okay? And if you need help with that, watch the movie Inception. You know, it's after seeing this video, this little awareness talk. Ooh, I forgot to do a Buddha card. Watch the movie Inception. It helps you learn about your unconscious mind creating the reality you live in. Okay. Okay. Today's messages will be to dispel the darkness in your life, becoming a warrior that dispels darkness in your reality. Okay, so let's get into this. Gamigin, the Great Marquis. Wearing violet, or violet to me represents like the crown chakra, third eye crown chakra, depending. Sometimes the crown to me is like more white, or anyway, third eye, whatever. Amethyst, violet, the jasmine incense. We'll get into why later. The metal of silver, the planet moon, the element water. Learning liberal sciences during this time can help you. Liberal sciences are things like philosophy, anatomy, art, music, poetry, psychology, sociology, etc. Things like this. This can help you through this transitional time. And some of Gamigin's magical practices are to tell you the tales of souls who died in sin. Now, you've got to understand what the word sin represents. It means passed away while still submerged in heavy, sad sorrow or emotions, right? And as long as you're working with Gamigin, you can ask as many questions as you like. Whereas like for a tarot reader, divinator, person like me, I don't prefer to ask so many fucking questions of spirit, because shit, you just lose track of them. Working with Gamigin, you're going to be able to ask as many questions as you want. So whatever you divinate, journal, intuitive writing, tarot, runes, whatever you ask your questions to, prayer, whatever it is, keep going. And this spirit of Gamigin will stay with you until you are satisfied with what you have called or taken on at this time. His physical bodies are his animals are a horse or donkey. And then if you ask, he will change into a human, man or woman. But the alchemical process of Gamigin is distilling of vinegar. So what this is like taking wine, right? Fermented wine that you used. And you want to turn it into an acidic solvent, right? So in the old days, they would, since it is horse and donkey, they would pack it with horse or donkey shit and heat it up, or just place it out in the sun and let the sun do its natural cooking. It'll turn wine into vinegar, right? And then you use that vinegar to break down solids, right? Acidically erode the surface to get to the core, right? You know, get to the pure metals, whatever you're dealing with. Alchemical herbs, right? The spiritual process of this alchemical process is to put one's emotional turmoils to the test, to see if you could navigate your heavy emotions at their core without sinking into sorrow. So it is a testful energy. It's not easy. When you work with your unconscious mind, true shadow work, I know there's a lot out there. I prefer this method because it does not spiritually bypass anything for ignorance. I'm not saying that's what's out there, just I've over many years of practicing this is the only thing that constantly, consecutively works and holds you accountable for those hidden truths that you know are holding you back. So the horse or donkey represents the four elements. We're suggesting balance, or the need to find balance in your lives. During this process, one can ask Spirit as many questions as one must and learn how to not leave this world with similar sadnesses as those who passed, being lost in their emotions. So in other words, this means like working with Gamigin, it's kind of like necromancy, which is really just if you talk to your ancestors, or if you still have dreams of passed on loved ones, right? That's necromancy. So take some of the fear out of that. While you're working with this spirit, as you're going through your emotional processing, navigation, you can communicate with those through either meditation or dream or scrying, or if you want to do the whole cartoon vision, go out there and try to raise the dead. But that's not really what this is about. So, the moon in this process represents meditation. This is where you will talk to the passed on ones who have died without ever resolving their emotional sorrows. Meditation, the unconscious mind, that's where meditation is, right? You meditate in the unconscious mind because the conscious mind is full of bells and whistles and pinball machines, okay? It's always going. Now, we need that pinball machine up here to make our reality understandable, but by going in and cleansing the darker hidden realms of our mind, it makes this a more enjoyable process of thinking, living, etc. Moon represents meditation, unconscious, emotions, patterns, and phases, okay? So, you notice something repetitive about your surroundings today? Maybe last year, you're seeing the same loops of conflict and separation and turmoil in your communities, societies, families, relationships, work, etc., etc. And it seems like it's a ongoing, repetitive phase, right? You're going to learn how to break these patterns while working with Gamigin, going through the meditations, speaking to those on the other side, in your unconscious dream world, who actually can see what you can't, right? Who can see all, right? Well, God consciousness, but if you understand God consciousness as like Brahma, right? It will help you, but it's really just here to be the consciousness of all things, right? So spirit realm, the angelic realms, the spirits of light, the spirits of earth, spirits of dead, passed on loved ones, are how you see things that you cannot see, right? Because going to meditation, you can see a wider view, right? You can work with spirits of all realms, right? Higher dimensions who are no longer in a body, right? So working with the dead is actually working with higher dimensional beings. They have transitioned from a body into spirit. Some of them are still stuck with sadnesses, so they work on earth, ancestors, to try to help you heal the same loops and patterns that they died with, right? So they're still higher dimensional beings. Metals you can work with are silver. This could mean like just wearing silver, having silver around, holding silver in like one of your charm bags, etc. Silver represents self-reflection, intuition, purifying yourself through self-reflection and intuition so you can find inner wisdom, clarity, good visions, and subtle strength, strengthening yourself as you mature in life. These are all traits of Gamigin, right? Gamigin. And, while working with any of the Goetia, it's good to draw their sigils. These are just alchemical symbols for silver, moon, vinegar, distillation, crucible, and I forgot the rest. Anyways, while you're doing this, when you go into meditation, use jasmine incense or oil, because the aromatherapy of jasmine is for easy transition in your thought processes while navigating emotional turmoil. It creates a gentle awareness while you're processing these emotions for your spiritual growth. The element is water. So, a thing that I learned at the Buddhist temple was for offerings they give water, right? But not like you would think. They put a little glass or a bowl as their offering, and they pour very slowly water into this glass while imagining all of the beautiful things they wish to gift not only the earth, their people, their passed on loved ones, the spirits or the deities, right? Angels, higher consciousness, God, whatever, the love of everything it would pour. So you work with water during this transition. It's feminine in nature, helps dissolve, cleanse, transform, purify, heal, and it's the connection between you and the spirit realms. So you ever seen Constantine where he puts his feet in the water, goes over to the other side? I mean, it's true. You do lucid dreaming in a bathtub or water meditations or swimming in a lake or pond or just soaking. It's good for you. This connection to the spirit realms helps you travel to the depths of your soul. Water represents great love or deep sorrow, the unconscious mind, intuition, and emotions. Now, why put ourselves through all this, right? To raise your awareness to a higher level, right? To dispel darkness, sadness, sorrow, emotions. To raise your consciousness to Elamia. Elamia is of the Seraphim chorus of angels, which represents the formless unity, like spirit, in all things, that is connected to all things. Seraphim, right? The formless unity of all things that helps us develop and express ourselves. Elamia is known as the unseen God, the divine power hidden within, waiting to grow and bloom. One must calm our turbulent emotions, Gamigin, and the unconscious, and discover their root causes to heal them, so our healthier emotions can nurture and fertilize the divine gifts within and help us grow in a higher awareness, more maturity, a better thought process, so that you can stop mental torment, discover new methods, and protect us as we lead our families, groups, and journeys in life. This process is done by breaking repetitive patterns that bring negative responses and learning new manners that bring good responses. And then working with the moon through both of these. Here is an incantation. Unlock the doors to the unconscious mind and call on protection as we navigate the emotional mind, calling on angels to protect from attack and evil sorcery through virtue of herbs, burning herb offerings, while speaking with the dead in dreams to cleanse and heal ourselves. If you want to a physical practice for this, buy a bottle of wine, put it out in the sun somewhere, let it turn into vinegar, burp it once a day, and draw the pentacles, Solomon's pentacles of the moon, number 1 through 6. Draw one at a time. And this is working with your unconscious. So things you can expect while working with the unconscious. You'll have a day of some things may rise, right? You might rise, right? You're tapping into things that are blocking your emotional well-being. So of course, that means you got to face them. You can't bypass this process. It's a process. It's important to let it rise, right? You journal down what has risen. You meditate on that. Think of people who have passed on in your lives, who suffered the same things you are. Are you carrying that torch for them? What would you ask them if you could still talk to them. Go into meditation. Maybe you'll see them in dream. Try to understand what they would have wanted you to do, to not live the same sadnesses that they died with. As you work through these things, expect mirror in your reality. Like, you're gonna see the things that rise in you being played out in reality, right? This is a way for you to, sometimes I look at it like this. As you're processing something, you'll notice two people, you're just random, you'd be walking down a fucking street somewhere, right? And two people start arguing about the same thing you're feeling. And you just kind of stop for a moment and listen to how they solve that problem, right? This is called the universe mirroring what you're doing so that you can learn healthier ways to process emotions so you don't always hold on to them. And in the end, it's so you can live a better life and grow. Feel more connected. See better responses in life. See things bloom in your world. Once you're aware of the root causes of all your inner turmoil and emotional sadness, and you don't allow it to break you, you have come out very strong and wise and powerful. And when you're in that nature, more things are good in reality than they are bad. So I hate this old cliche of everything negative that you experience is your own damn fault, but it is true. Let's say, for instance, is it wise to continue to enter atmospheres that argue for absolutely no purpose other than to produce an ego, right? Or to rise in ego, feel above each other? Does it ever actually get anywhere? So why would you continue to do that instead of cleansing your mind, understanding, oh, okay, it's my ego boost that keeps me wanting to argue with people, and then when they argue back, it makes me upset, and then I scream more, and then they scream more, and it's a loop, right? Instead, process your shit, see why you feel you need to be in conflict, and rise above it so you can live a better life, find better solutions. A lot of things I hear in the world, right, is when people have these mental, emotional breakdowns, it's the same things on loop. So when I hear a lot of the loop going on in reality, it only makes sense that it's time we see what patterns are we sticking to that can be overcome and transformed. So that's it for today. That is Gamigin and Ela Mia. A little bit early, but take what you will and leave the rest.